Deanna God, hello all. Osha, Sahiya, good evening. And what thank you for watching. So this is day 10, part B of reading Hollywood Babylon by Kenneth Angers. And this picture says Bogie, B-O-G-I-E, and Bacall, B-A-C-A-L-L. The two, it says two against the tide. Red Tide. By 1947, the anti-communist campaign, led by Congressman J. Parnell Thomas, had cast a pall, P-A-L-L, over Hollywood as insidious as the newly pervasive Los Angeles smog, with the House Un-American Activities Committee granting them open season. Movie land's fanatical right-wingers emerged from the woodwork, wrapped themselves in the flag, and came out punching, generally below the belt. Mrs. Layla Rogers' dutiful daughter, Ginger, and Howard Hughes were in the vanguard of the super-patriotic posse. John Wayne was elected president of a lynching party, which called itself the Motion Picture Alliance for the Preservation of American Ideals. Charles Coburn was first vice president, Hedda Hopper second. And parentheses, it says, in 1947, Hedda spent her entire vacation traveling across the United States by car, addressing women's clubs, urging them to boycott films which featured quote-unquote communist actors, close parentheses. Director Leo McCarey and actor Ward Bond were charter members of the alliance. Paul Lucas, L-U-K-A-S, Robert Taylor, George Murphy, and Adolphe, A-D-O-L-P-H-E, Menjou, M-E-N-J-O-U, were among those most eager to denounce all the Reds alleged to be hiding under Beverly Hills beds. In parentheses, Menjou feared that a communist takeover of the country was imminent. He declared that he was moving to Texas, in quotes, because the Texans will shoot all communists on sight, end quote, close parentheses. That keen political analyst, Gary Cooper, boasted of having rejected, in quotes, many scripts which espoused communist ideas, end quote. Aghast at these proceedings, a contingent of celebrities of another ilk, ILK, chartered a plane and flew to Washington to protest these, in quotes, invasions of citizens' rights to privacy and their beliefs, end quote. On the plane were Bogart and Bacall, Gene Kelly, June Havoc, John Huston, H-U-S-T-O-N, and Danny Kaye, K-A-Y-E. It says John Garfield blackballed. This stellar plane load did not play to an appreciative house. A group of arch fiends was shortly signaled out, the Hollywood 10. These were Herbert Biberman, B-I-B-E-R-M-A-N. Wonder if any relation to Justin Bieber. Like, I wonder if they, like, changed the name just slightly. Anyway, Albert Maltz, M-A-L-T-Z, Edward Dmytryk, D-M-Y-T-R-Y-K, Adrian Scott, Ring Lardner Jr., Samuel Ornitz, O-R-N-I-T-Z, John Howard Lawson, Lester Cole, Alva Bessie, A-L-V-A-H, and Dalton Trumbo. In parentheses, irony of ironies. After his condemnation, Trumbo bumped into a fellow prisoner, none other than his former accuser, Congressman J. Parnell Thomas, who had been sentenced to time in the clink for payroll padding, close parentheses. Allies of the 10 who preferred self-imposed exile to the ignominy, I-G-N-O-M-I-N-Y, of the situation at home were the talented directors Jules Dassin, D-A-S-S-I-N, John Barry, and Joe Losey, L-O-S-E-Y, who continued their careers in Europe. The fate of those who stayed at home was often darker. The blacklist ruined the lives or cut short the careers of such fine talents as Anne Revere, R-E-V-E-R-E, Gail Sondergaard, S-O-N-D-E-R-G-A-A-R-D, Jean Muir, M-U-I-R, John Garfield, and J. Edward Bromberg. Dashiell, D-A-S-H-I-E-L-L, Hammett, and Lillian Hellman faced the Inquisitors with dignity and honor. Bullfrog-voiced actor Lionel Strander did a bang-up number of outraged innocents for the committee's benefit and told them where to go. He then cleared out to Italy, where he continued his eccentric career unperturbed. Sidney Buckman, scenarist of Capra's Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, refused to appear. He was cited for contempt of Congress and immediately became unemployable in Hollywood. Conscience is a sometimes thing and did not make cowards of them all. But some celebrities squealed, named names, and blithely continued their careers through this dark age. Dmitry Elia Kazan, K-A-Z-A-N, and Elia is E-L-I-A. Jerome Robbins, Larry Parks, was a special case. He admitted to membership in the Communist Party to save his skin. Oh, man. His skin may have been saved, but his career was finished. The public was not amused for it. Politics and Hollywood just didn't mix. The Red Hunt did nothing to improve the quality of American films or American life. What it did do was ruin many lives and careers and tarnish the glamour of Tinseltown. I don't think that's what tarnished it, though. And then all this nasty, crazy stuff. Like, come on. Gail Sondergaard, career cut short. Peep Show Picadillos. So this says Carol Landis is in this picture. And it looks like, it doesn't look like it's a film. It looks like this is how she died, I guess. And the reason why I say that is because of the blood pooling on her hand, like in her, for her skin, you know what I mean? Anyway, right here. I don't know. Mr. and Mrs. Moviegoer were more interested in the hullabaloo caused by the 4th of July suicide of Carol Landis in 1948, provoked by an unrequited love for Rex Harrison. Rex found Carol's body lying on the bathroom floor of her Pacific Palisades home, her head resting on a jewel box, one hand clutching a crumpled envelope that still contained a sleeping pill. On the vanity table of her bedroom, a note was found addressed to her mother. Dearest Mommy, I'm sorry, really sorry to put you through this, but there is no way to avoid it. I love you, darling. You have been the most wonderful mom ever, and that applies to all our family. I love each and every one of them dearly. Everything goes to you. Look in the files, and there is a will which decrees everything. Goodbye, my angel. Pray for me. Your baby. So there's another picture. It says, Pot verdict, Lila Leeds, L-E-E-D-S, Bob Mitchum, and Jerry Geisler react to sentence. A short time before, Carol Landis had confessed to photoplay. In quotes, let me tell you this. Every girl in the world wants to find the right man, someone who is sympathetic and understanding and helpful and strong, someone she can love madly. Actresses are no exceptions. Glamour girls are certainly no exceptions. The glamour and the tinsel, the fame and the money mean very little if there is a hurt in the heart, end quote. Another hullabaloo surrounded the arrest of Robert Mitchum the night of August 31st, 1948 for possession of marijuana after a raid on the Hollywood cottage of Lila Leeds, a blonde starlet friend. The bust caused the cancellation of Bob's appearance the following day on the steps of Los Angeles City Hall, where he was scheduled to address a gathering for National Youth Week. Yeah, I can understand that. Laconic, L-A-C-O-N-I-C, Mitchum served a 2-month jail sentence. When he emerged, his popularity was absolutely unaffected, and Howard Hughes of RKO bought his contract from Selznick for over $200,000. That same season, Gertrude Mitchell, who in the 30s had portrayed the glamorous Sophie Lang in a series of neat B's, like capital B, apostrophe little s. You know, I don't know if you know the story of Howard Hughes, but I heard it the other day. And I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder if they wrote a book about that. Like, that's insane. I mean, it's just insane. I feel like the mob or mafia or something took his money or whatever. But it could have been like the entertainment industry, which I feel like is the same thing. Anyway, about a svelte lady jewel thief in Princey's in the bizarre 1934 musical Murder at the Vanities. She stole the show singing, in quotes, sweet marijuana, end quote, close Princey's. Was arrested one night for drunkenness on the beach at Venice. When discovered by the fuzz alone and clutching a bottle of scotch, Gertie sobbed and muttered, end quotes, leave me alone, I have no friends, I'm all alone and everyone has forgotten me. I want to jump in the ocean, end quote. She was taken to the police station where she pleaded further to the waiting photographers, in quotes, "I'm not a poor man's Carol Landis. And will you please retouch my photograph so I won't look like Francis Farmer," end quote. And here is the thing that she participated in. It says, "The weed with roots in hell, marijuana." I guess that was a billing poster or something, I don't know. The period was also enlivened by a public fracas in which producer Walter Wanger shot Jennings Lang in the groin. Lang was the paramour of Wanger's wife, John Bennett. The noted producer served out a term in the Pokey as a prison librarian. That's insane. In parentheses, this affair paralleled an earlier celebrity shook up in 1938 when blues singer Ruth Eddings, Etting, insanely jealous ex Mo, quote unquote, the Gimp, Schneider, Snyder, shot Merle Alderman, her accompanist lover, on her Hollywood doorstep, close parentheses. On February 2nd, 1950, Ingrid Bergman, in parentheses, Mrs. Lindstrom, Lindstrom, close parentheses, bore Signor, Signor, Rossellini, a beautiful son, Robertino. Okay. Her spirit of independence scandalized the American public. She chose to ride out the storm in Europe. Mitchum emerges from lockup, popularity unaffected. Con game, and this is pay for play. In 1951, the police raided a deluxe pleasure house nestled in the hills above Sunset Strip, apprehending its madam, Billie Bennett, and seizing her customer's ledger. The ledger was to become famous, for it was a golden book of Hollywood celebrities, habitual clientele of the establishment, some of whom had left their Oscars on the mantelpiece in gratitude for quote-unquote services rendered. That's crazy. In parentheses, the tip-off came from some well-known restaurateurs along the Strip who were outraged at Billie's plans to, in quotes, go legit and open a proper swank and competing restaurant on their high-toned turf. Close parentheses. Dozens of male stars, as well as producers and scenarists, suddenly took off for the four posters of the world, accepted work in Europe, or suddenly needed vacations. The studios applied pressure and succeeded in hushing the matter up. Within a few months, the quote-unquote vacationers trickled back to California. In 1952, the movie capital had not entirely recovered from the Billie Bennett affair when a little magazine published in New York appeared on newsstands all over the country. This new offspring of yellow journalism soon became the talk of the town, and Confidential acquired and it says for services rendered. Good Lord. Hang on, let me try and, there we go, I think I got it. Anyway, reputation as the worst kind of brag, but everyone read it anyway. Its motto was, in quotes, tells the facts and names the names, end quote. Scandal sheets were nothing new. There had been successful professional gossip mongers for decades, including the vicious Westbrook Pegler, malicious Walter Winchell, Winchell, that holy terror, Elsa Maxwell, and of course, Tinseltown's own innuendo specialists, Hedda and Luella. But perfidious Confidential carried things further than any of the rumor mongers had done, went into greater detail, and did not hesitate to affirm that the stories it published were a faithful account of the facts. Confidential's publisher, Robert Harrison, had conceived the idea for the magazine after watching the daily televised Kefauver, Kefauver, crime investigations, when he observed that these journalistic reports on vice, crime, and prostitution eclipsed all other programs in the ratings. He deduced that the public was hungry for gossip, and that a publication which presented such material in a spicy manner, and did, in effect, name names, would go over big. Harrison had started out in the 1920s as an office boy at the Daily Graphic, a scandal sheet which in many ways was a precursor of Confidential. He then worked for Martin Quigley, pious publisher of the Motion Picture Herald, and on his own had put out a fetish series, High-Heeled Women with Whips type magazines, okay, whose circulations were falling off by the time he conceived the Confidential idea. The first issue did phenomenally well and sold 250,000 copies. At its peak, Confidential was selling 4 million copies on newsstands, a record for American quote-unquote journalism. And here it says, it could only happen in Hollywood when Lana Turner shared a lover with Ava Gardner. The handsome bartender knew how to make pink ladies, but was a guy to do when he walks in and finds 2 ladies in waiting, both in the pink. And let me see. No, can't read that. But I tried. Let's see. So I was able to read all of that, but not that. Probably if I had a really bright light. Let's see. Harrison embarked on a large-scale attack on the private lives of America's most famous citizens. His formula was simple: a well-known name, an unflattering photograph, and a story, fairly short, which presented a sordid episode in a mock and humorous manner. He knew what his customers wanted. He confided to friends, in quotes, Americans like to read about things which they are afraid to do themselves, end quote, with the success of the magazine, its victims were increasingly those Hollywood luminaries whose private lives were of most morbid interest to the public. Harrison set up a quote-unquote agency in Hollywood run by his niece, Marjorie Mead. It was given the pretentious moniker, end quotes, Hollywood Research Incorporated, end quote. Shady Seamuses would be starlets, has-been hams, and faded journalists were hired to rattle, prattle, and tattle. I don't know about y'all, but I was totally into all that stuff. Real Housewives, like all that stuff. Even growing up, like just like being a little kid, if there's like an expose on somebody, I was like, ooh, I'm watching that. And then when I could afford it, I would buy those magazines and stuff, you know, and then like at any like doctor's office or whatever, I was reading all up on it, and I could tell you all sorts of things about people and their families and whatnot. And it just sucks because I spent all that time doing that, and I should have been like learning stuff, you know what I mean? Like real stuff, real life stuff, not the fluff stuff, you know, that they made seem important. And I remember something that my mother used to tell me, like, you can recite like all these songs, but like you're having issues with this subject. Like, I don't understand. So just put the information to the songs or whatever. And I was like thinking to myself, but it's not catchy or whatever. Or you know all this about the celebrity. Like, why don't you put that celebrity into your notes and things? And that way you can remember things better. And it just sucked because, yeah, I totally was, my time was like literally on the wrong thing. Anyway, the success of Confidential enabled Harrison to pay up to $1,000 per gossip item, assuring him a fine stable of spies, sometimes eminent showbiz personalities themselves, would be informants on colleagues. Mike Todd called Harrison from California to film him on a juicy story concerning Harry Cohn, C-O-H-N, much hated president of Colombia. This is Jane Mansfield Revelations. So like if you know all this stuff about like sports people and like any celebrity or entertainer or whatever, like you literally have got to do something else. Take up a hobby, learn something new, and stick with it for like a year so that you can actually say if it's for you or not, right? Anyway, many quote-unquote researchers were call girls. In fact, the nucleus of the organization was the bevy of pinup girls who adorned the bars of Sunset Strip. In bed, these high-priced floozies received the confidences of famous stars, while a miniature tape recorder inside their purse left carelessly open on the bedside table recorded by night the indiscretions devoured later by avid readers. Hollywood Research unearthed compromising photographs and films and made use of the latest technical refinements, infrared and ultra-rapid film, high-powered telephoto lenses. This was a fashion in which the domestic feuds of Anita Ekberg, E-K-B-E-R-G, and Anthony Steele, S-T-E-E-L-E, were snooped upon. When particularly compromising material had been gathered, an agent of Hollywood Research visited the star involved with a copy in hand. It was suggested to the victim that the original might be purchased. Some paid, panic-stricken, others refused. Stories which were not bought out of existence included, in quotes, Elizabeth Scott among the girls, end quote, in quotes, Danny Daly in drag, end quote, Errol Flynn and his two-way mirrors, end quote, the best pumper in Hollywood, question mark, M.M.M. Marilyn M.M. Monroe. So we'll leave it there. Don't go hang, we need a good chance to meet again. Love you, mean it.